Next up, we have Shagg Catri. And just like Barbie Bellier, she's in a much better place. She's over, I believe she's traveling to Perth, Australia at this point in time. She was in Singapore, and she was on her way down to go to Perth and drink some fine red wine down in the Margaret River. But we have Dick Catri up here to accept on her behalf. But let's talk a little bit about Shag, who was first introduced into surfing by meeting this scoundrel over here in Hawaii back in 1964. Pretty amazing. He was from Florida, she was from California. They caught eye contact in apartment buildings with balconies opposite of each other. That's how they met and connected. And Dick was a good-looking guy back then. And he doesn't look in mirrors now and still believes he's great looking. And we'll buy that, all right? Good looking guy, Dick Catri. They got involved and they started it all. What did they start? It was amazing. In 1965, they opened the first satellite surf shop. And in the spring of '66, after a little bit of problems with landlords and the things that happened to surf shops and so on, they moved to Indy Atlantic, Florida, and opened as Dick Catri's and Shag's Surf Shop. And after 4 years, they changed the name to just Shag's Surf and Sport because Shag decided she liked tennis. So it was just, surf and sport. But the neat thing is that they enjoyed, before they got into the business, it was amazing how it all transcended. After hanging out on the North Shore in 1964 and 65, they were part, and Dick Catri was part of that, and Shag was the better part of this, of entering into the surfing lifestyle. And it all began in Hawaii. And how he was able to convince a girl from California to move to the East Coast is a real jewel in his cap, because that's an extremely difficult thing to do. But I share that with him because my better half, I got her to leave California, so I know that's a real trick. Back then, they were surfing on the team that went from the East Coast. They challenged Peru and went down in 1966 to Peru and surfed. They have the club Waikiki. It's spelled Waikiki, but in Peru they pronounce it Waikiki. And that's come to prominence recently because they're doing the amateur world events down there in Peru. But Dick was one of those pioneers that went back in 1966. Now they had the world contest in '64, but in '66 they took a team from the East Coast and went down there and surfed, and Shag went along. And that was part of the process of bringing her into this surfing lifestyle. She came back, and as part of the Surfboards Hawaii team, she was sewing on her own baggies, bikinis, walk shorts, and Dick laments that if they only really knew what they were doing, they were way ahead of Quicksilver and Billabong. What coulda, woulda, shoulda, that was part of it. And she made amazing products. They were great. Everybody loved them. They had the Shag surf team back in those days, 67, 68, 69. Imagine this. They went up to the East Coast Championships. There's 78 trophies available. Their team took 74. Imagine that, how strong that surf energy was from that one little area here in Brevard County, Florida, the Shag surf team. And that team transcended. Here you go. I don't know if we can identify some of the members here, but that's a Wayback Machine. Any of you were Rocky and Bullwinkle fans, you can jump on the Wayback Machine and go back to this. What year was that, Dick?
That was after I was out of the store. That was probably in the early 90s.
Early 90s. Okay. And I'm not paying attention to all the photographs because I think there's another team photo that pops up there with, there we go. Look at these guys. Anybody recognize who's in this photo? We got Todd Holland. Look at that here. You know, he wasn't such a redneck then. Then we got next to him is that Sean? The next one? That's Sean. And then, yeah, it must be Sean because Kelly stepped up and so he can be as tall as the rest of them. He was the littlest guy. And then the skinniest surfer in the world, Sean O'Hare. Who's the other one on there?
Gary Propper's brother's son.
There you go, Troy Proper. So this was the winningest team of this era. They were in Cape Hatteras, they had the best winning record. Just an amazing collection of the future Hall of Fame surfers, but future World Tour surfers. Just amazing. 35 years in total, she was a surf shop owner. And you know, kind of my experience with Shag, because I had a bikini company and I had a travel company, and my involvement with Shag was, she was kind of like a mom. You went in to talk to her and it was like talking to one of the supreme surf moms. She was just the nicest gal. She had the biggest smile. She could be stressed out because I'm sure the people in the surf shop business knows there is a bit of stress. And she could be stressed out, but she always had a great big smile. And the people that I've talked to always had that feeling about Shag. She was a bit of a great surf mom. Here's another photo of those same characters. Todd looking even better there. He's trying to be a hippie. He kind of swerved out of being a redneck and turned into a hippie there for a little while. Shag also was a sales rep. So here we are, Surf Expo. She not only was a buyer, she would come here and work in a booth as a sales rep. She wore all the hats. She did it very well, working for Stylize, Tide Pool Kids, Maxine Swimwear. She was great at it. She did very well. She decided after a point in time that she needed to move on. She decided to sell her shop and get into real estate. And she quite enjoyed that. She is, if you want to move to Brevard County, Shag's the one to go see. So if you have any idea you're tired of up north and that's where you are and you want to move to Brevard County, check Shag out. She's awesome. My cousin went to Shag and bought her house, actually. So yeah, it's pretty. She'd like to add a little note. She's proud of all of you for what you have made the industry, this industry. Your passion for surfing has made it a sport, and it is admired and enjoyed globally. Ladies and gentlemen, accepting on Shag's behalf, Dick Catri.
Well, the last name is still the same, but I am in a very unique position. Here I am, an ex-husband, accepting for my ex-wife. I have some things I could say, but I won't. I promised my kids I wouldn't do that. However, I did get this shirt today from 1965, and I'm proud to wear it. All I can say is the years I spent with Shag, and that's what she looked like when she was young, were wonderful years. She was the best mom that you could ever wish to find, and she did that with all the people that came in the shop for years. Kids who turned into parents, who turned into grandparents, who brought their kids into that store, and everybody loved her. I can say we're better friends now than when we were married. She gets along with my current wife. I worry about them when they go off and talk to each other, but she's a wonderful lady. She happens to be, as he said, not available for the show. She got the opportunity to go and visit my youngest daughter and my granddaughter's down in Singapore. And then her husband works for, my youngest daughter's husband, works for ESPN, and he took her to Thailand for Christmas and then flew her down to Australia so she could watch the Australian Tennis Open, which she is an avid tennis fan. Nobody knows this, but in the Grand Dame section of tennis, she was a Florida champion. She really played good, high tennis. I got this thing that says Shagg's Project here, and there's like 27 people who talked extremely nice about her, but out of respect for everybody else, I'm going to read one quote from my oldest daughter. Thank you for taking the care and accepting for Mom. I would like for you to say that I learned to swim, fish, and surf from you, but Mom taught me the patience and love to teach those to my children. Also, please mention her integrity and how she expected it in others, which made everyone around her better. And I couldn't say that with any more sincerity. Everybody that was on our surf teams, from Surfboards Hawaii to Hobie to all the way down with Craig Carroll running the team for years after that, she looked out for those kids. And she looked out for every kid that came in the store. We had a big box of surf wax right next to the door. And we put it there so they could steal surf wax. But that brought them in the store. There were some really unique things about her. There was a little mention about her making clothes. She started out, and Mike can testify to this, she made these black corduroy shorts and these black corduroy jackets with the Surfboards Hawaii logo on them. And girls would have stripped you naked to get them off of you. People wanted to buy them, and she couldn't make them fast enough to supply the team with them because they were selling them on the side. The end result in all of it, she got into the bikini thing, and she started a store that wound up doing $500,000 a year in just bikinis. She was a good businesswoman. I had a hard time convincing her that it was okay for me to go out surfing every day to sell surfboards. But she let me do it. And without her, everything would have been different on the East Coast. I promise you that. I accept proudly for her, and I know she would love to be here, and says to you all, God bless you all.
He is eloquent, isn't he? We're so glad that Dick is a part of our history. It's awesome.